Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have 8:30. I call this Sawyer County Zoning Committee meeting to order. I'm Kathy. Can we have roll call, please?
Ron Buckholz.
Here.
Stacy Hessel. Tweed Schuman.
Here.
Kay Wilson. Here. Michael Maestri.
Here.
John Righeimer. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Pledge of Allegiance. Where our flag go?
Oh, it's up on the screen.
Oh, nice one there last night. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, statement and committee hearing procedure and statement and hearing notice. This full statement of committee and hearing procedure document, including directions for individuals wishing to speak at a public hearing to be conducted at this zoning committee, are available in the front of the room next to the agenda for today's meeting. The statement of committee hearing procedure document is hereby incorporated into the record for the committee meeting. Any public hearing conducted today at this committee meeting has been published as a Class 2 notice in accordance with Chapter 985 of the Wisconsin statutes in the Sawyer County Record and the Sawyer County Gazette as posted. Just one other thing, is everybody turned in that their appearance slips if they want to talk on anything today, or is it going to be an easy, good meeting? Okay, all right. Number E, approval of the May 19th minutes.
I make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Wilson, a second by Mr. Schuman to approve the May 19th minutes as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Public comment time is intended for general public comment, not comments relating to a specific application before each committee. Agenda items requiring a public hearing has its public hearing conducted just prior to the application being considered by the committee. If you wish to speak on a specific agenda item, we encourage you to hold your comments till then. Okay, is there anybody that wants to speak in public comment? Did everybody notice too now on our public comment how some of this we reworded this? Okay. All right, Jay, guess nobody wants public. Mike, does anybody have their hand up on there on public comment? Okay.
All right, moving on. This is for rezone applications. This is the public hearing in the town of Winter, rezone number 23-002, owner Gregory Elko, part of the Northeast 1 quarter, the Northeast 1 quarter, section 27, township 39 north, range 5 west, parcel 032-539-271102. Property is 5.17 acres, zoned residential recreational 1. Purpose of the request is to rezone from RR1 to agricultural 1 for livestock. As part of my staff report, and that shifted it way over there. Again, as part of my staff report, the purpose of the request is to rezone the entire 5.17 acres from residential recreational 1 to agricultural 1. The underlying shoreline wetland district is not subject to be changed as part of this request. As part of the applicant's statement summarized, the previous owner had 2 horses that were on the property in an approximately 2-acre fenced-in area on the northeast side of the property. There is an existing agricultural building also within this location. The fenced area does not slope down towards the river and would like to legally have cows and horses within that location again. As part of the attached maps within the packet, the current fenced-in area is approximately 200 feet from existing residents and approximately 600 feet from the Bruni River. The nearest Ag 1 property is immediately west of State Highway 70, and that is why the A1 zone district was requested as opposed to A2. There are 2 other residential structures immediately to the east of this property and south across the river. The town of Winter, as part of their comprehensive plan, shows this future land designation as rural residential. The rural residential designation occurs along the majority of the roadways located in the town of Winter, and it is advised to have a density of 1 home per 20,000 square feet of land area. As part of the town of Winter's comprehensive plan, future land use maps act as visual guides for future planning. The future land use map is not an official map, nor is it a zoning map. It represents long-term recommendations and is advisory only. As part of the town board decision, motion was approved. Signed Tom Housel, supervisor, Ronald Fandry, supervisor. No additional comments. Signed Lori Van Winkle, town clerk. There were 8 comment letters sent out to adjacent property owners. None of those were returned. We also received information back from the DNR as that this is part of a shoreline wetland district. The department understands that there are shoreline wetlands on this property in question. The department recommends ensuring any use associated with the applicant's request meet the applicable shoreline wetland requirements, including remaining outside any wetland areas and not creating discharge into any wetlands. Also note that the rezone from RR1 to A1 does not change the overlaying shoreline wetland district associated with these requirements. That is all.
Okay. All right, I need a motion to go into a public hearing on rezone number 23-002.
I make a motion to go into public hearing.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Wilson, a second by Mr. Schuman to go into public hearing on rezone number 23-002. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Maestri? You on there?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? We are now in public hearing. Is Elco's here? Here. You want to step up to the mic and state your name and address and tell the committee what you want them to know?
Name Greg Elko, W5729 State Road 70, Winter. I'm here to, what do you need from me?
Well, is there anything you want us
Well,
to know?
well, I wanted to get reindeer as a hobby, but after researching them, very expensive, like 5,000 per breeding reindeer.
Oh,
So I have a neighbor from Nebraska who knows all about cows, and he said the area is set up perfectly for a cow or two. So that's what we want to go with
just a couple?
at the most. 1 this year, maybe 2 next year.
Right.
By the way, a breeding reindeer is $5,000 and too risky. If the thing dies, doomed. So
Yeah.
a nice $600 cow looks like a bargain. So
Yeah.
that's
I got a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Schuman.
Good luck trying to find that, Mr. Elko.
what?
A $600 cow.
Oh,
And I
it's a
just want to
calf.
tell you that
Calf.
I raise cattle as well, and they do better in pairs.
I've
Just a
heard
thought,
that.
okay?
Yep.
And are you comfortable, sir, with following the wetland district requirements that are
Oh, yeah.
listed here?
Sure.
You understand that then?
Yeah, I've got to stay at least 75 feet away and don't have anything that drains to the wetland or the river.
Great.
The
Thank
way
you.
it's set up, it goes the other way. Whoever made the pasture kept it away from the river. And
Okay, any more questions? Mr. Maestri, you got any questions for the applicant?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody out there that would like to speak in favor of this rezone? You can sit down, mister. Is there anybody out there that would like to speak against this rezone? Okay. All right, need a motion to come out of public hearing on rezone number 23-002.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
I'll second that.
we have a motion by Mr. Schuman and a second by Ms. Wilson to come out of rezone or out of public hearing on rezone number 23-002. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We are now out of public hearing.
This is the discussion action for rezone number 23-002. Owner Gregory Elko, legal description is previously read into record. Request is to rezone 5.17 acres from RR1 to agricultural 1 for livestock.
Okay. Committee, turn it over to you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to approve this rezone number 23-002. With Jay, what is the staff report? Is that just the wetland district requirements?
Yeah, so for a rezone as a legislative act, there wouldn't be conditions. You just want to be, listing as your findings of facts for approval.
Sure. Okay, and my findings of facts are 1 through 9 for approval. Motion.
All right, we have a motion and I'll second that motion. To approve rezone number 23-002. Any more discussion? If not, Kathy, can we do roll call, please?
Ron Buckholz.
Yes.
Kay Wilson,
Yes.
Tweed Schuman,
Yes.
Michael Maestri.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Our next case is a public hearing in the town of. This is a public hearing in the town of Round Lake, conditional use permit number 23-015. Owner Jeremy and Heidi Lowers, part of government lot 2, lot 1, CSM number 2540, parcel 024-741-345205. Property is 2.50 total acres, zone residential recreational 1. Permit is desired for an accessory building 40 by 80, subject to section 4.26 parent 1 to allow an accessory structure on vacant lot with automatic conditions, and section 4.26 parent 3 to build an accessory building on an adjacent parcel divided by a public roadway. The primary dwelling is to be built on the lakeside. As part of my staff report, again, this is a dual fold request. It's subject to section 4.26 parent 1, which is for the construction of an accessory building on vacant property, may only be allowed under conditional use with town and zoning committee approval. Granting of a conditional use will require that within 3 years that a principal dwelling land use permit be applied for, and that principal dwelling is built within that permit timeframe on that same parcel. Failure to build the principal dwelling will result in citations and order for removal. The permit request is also subject to section 4.26 parent 3 of the Sawyer County zoning ordinance, in that the placement of the accessory structure will be on the opposite side of a town road from where the future primary dwelling is to be located. Initially, this request was as 4.26 parent 2, but after additional research it was conducted, it should be as 4.26 parent 3, as that parcel of land is defined as one contiguous tract of land that is divided by that public roadway. 4.26 parent 2 would only apply if it was a separate parcel of land. And again, this is one parcel of land, one lot. As per the applicant's statements and conversations with them, the CUP is being requested to first build an outdoor building or an outbuilding prior to constructing the cabin. The proposed accessory structure is to meet all other county zoning setback and use requirements. The size of the garage or pole shed is not to exceed 40 by 80 and 1 story in height. If the conditional use permit is granted for section 4.26 parent 1, which is the placement of an accessory structure prior to building a primary dwelling, it would be given a 3-year time frame as to build the primary dwelling or to apply for the land use permit to build the primary dwelling. Again, this is a hybrid CUP request. The accessory structure is proposed on the non-lakeside portion from where the primary dwelling is to be built. This is due to topography concerns as well as limiting impervious surfaces near the lake. As action by the town board, motion was unanimously approved. Ralph Hanson, Chairman, Kay Wilson, Supervisor, Donald Stover, Supervisor, Dan Palmer, Supervisor, James Strandland, Supervisor. With conditions, or not conditions, but with comments, approved building size not to exceed 40 by 80 with natural buffer around building. Signed, Kathy McCoy, Town Clerk. There were 9 comment letters sent out to adjacent parcel property owners. 1 was returned with objections. This one's pretty sure. I'll just read it into record. My name is Arthur C. Kern Jr., owner of parcel ending in 3307. I'm sending this notice to Sawyer County Zoning and Conservation Department in regards to This property's legal description, which has already been read into record. I'm opposing the conditional use permit number 23-015 for the owners. The 40 by 80 accessory building they want to build is too close to my property. Putting up an accessory building like that has to be somewhat of a business. That again was from Arthur C. Kern Jr., who I believe is the immediately south property owner from this location. Again, as per the Sawyer County zoning ordinance, you would need to be a minimum of 40 feet from a rear property line, which that applicant would need to meet those required setbacks. That is all.
Cool, okay. All right. All right, I need a motion to go into public hearing on CUP number 23-015.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Wilson and a second by Mr. Schuman to go into public hearing on CUP number 23-015. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? We are now in public hearing. Is the applicants here? You want to step forward, sir, state your name and your address, please?
Hello, my name's Jeremy Loris. We currently reside in Birchwood, Wisconsin. We are planning on building our permanent residence on this property at 10984 West South Shore Road, Hayward. We've met with Jay in Sawyer County, and the building does meet all the requirements for zoning. The only reason for the conditional use permit is we'd like to build the outbuilding prior to us building our primary permanent residence on the lake side of the property. It's not a commercial building, it's purely storage and recreational. The only reason for the size of the building is we have an RV, which we'd like to have inside. We have a boat, a pontoon, we snowmobile, we're outdoorsmen. Family, we'd like to keep everything under one roof for security reasons and just for value, and we, you know, things don't sit outside. And I guess that's it. We're just, I guess, obviously we are perfectly fine with the conditions of the Round Lake Town Board meeting with the buffer. We had totally intended on doing all of that prior to their recommendations for that. So,
And all the setbacks.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And you don't plan on living in that at
No,
all?
there's
Until
no-
you get your one built or whatever?
No, there's no living quarters, there's no kitchen, there's no sleeping quarters, anything. It's purely storage.
All right.
It will be finished inside and out, and a portion of it will probably be heated for workshop or.
Sure. All right, you got any questions, committee?
Yeah, I guess I have one, sir. Is the topography here where you turn off, what is it, Shoreline Road?
So there's South Shore Road, which
Oh.
goes north and south, and then there's South Shore Lane, which goes east and
Okay.
west there.
So you've got a good driveway access on both sides of that road, so you can access this building and your home you plan to build?
Yes, there's already an existing driveway there on the home side and lake side. Yep.
Okay,
That's all I have.
great, thank you, sir.
Yep.
Is there anybody out there that would like to speak in favor of this CUP? Is there anyone out there that would like to speak in opposition of this CUP? No hands up, Mike J? Okay. All right, if nothing else, I need a motion to come out of public hearing on CUP number 23-015.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion by Mr. Schuman, and I will second that motion to come out of public hearing on number 23-015. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are now out of public hearing. Thank you, sir.
This is the discussion action, Town of Round Lake conditional use permit number 23-015. Legal description is previously read into record. This request is for section 4.26 parent 1, the Sawyer County zoning ordinance, and section 4.26 parent 3 of the Sawyer County zoning ordinance, with referencing my staff report of a list of possible conditions. that a land use permit is required for and applied for the accessory structure within 1 year of the date of the zoning committee decision and built within those permit timeframes, that a land use permit is required for and applied for the principal structure within 3 years from the date of the zoning committee decision and built within those permit timeframes. Failure to apply and build will result in the citation with potential order of removal of the accessory building. The proposed accessory structure to meet all other Sawyer County zoning and conservation requirements and compliant with all other state, federal, and town laws. The size of the proposed structure not to exceed 40 by 80.
Okay, then whoever makes that motion, that should be added in there, Jay, or will that?
Those
be-
are that's my list of possible conditions. You can add to those, you can delete to those. Section 4.26 parent 1 would have those first two as automatic conditions. That's for those permit timeframes and when you need to apply and when you need to build. Those other ones, as far as the size and meeting other Sawyer County zoning requirements, are again my list of possible conditions, which you can always add or delete to
All right.
that list.
Thank
Got
you.
a question, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah,
if
go
you
ahead.
don't mind. Jay, what about the town of Round Lakes request to have a natural buffer around the building?
Yeah,
Is
there's
that
probably.
included in your staff report?
It's not. I guess I wasn't aware of that until I saw that here this morning. I guess there's probably another individual that could speak more on that from the town's perspective.
Yeah. Can I-
Supervisor Wilson, as far as what the buffer may require or what the town wants to see as part of the buffer. And then ultimately, if that is a condition that we add, we would also need that the applicant would be agreeable to said condition.
Thanks. We were listening to Mr. Kerr's concern about being too close to his property. But this building is going to be in the woods. And so we didn't want him cutting down the woods around his building, so he's just going to keep it natural. And it will be almost completely disguised, so we just wanted to put in there a natural buffer, which would be the woods.
Okay. Okay, committee.
And then Rebecca has her hand up as well.
Oh, Rebecca, good morning.
Good morning. I would just recommend that when the committee discusses and sets forth these conditions, that you just have the applicant agree on the record that the applicant is fine with all of the conditions in the approval.
All right, committee. It's up to you.
I'll make
Should we-
a motion to approve
What's
this CUP with the conditions of Jay's report and the condition of a natural buffer kept around the building. And the findings of fact would be 1 through 9, 8.
Okay, and I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Wilson, a second by Mr. Schuman to approve the CUP number 23-015. Go ahead.
Kay, when you said that, you said 1 through 9, or did you change it to 1 through 8?
I said 1 through 8.
Okay, thank you.
And then just so we get it on the record, is it Jeremy, you're agreeable to all these conditions? All right, let the record reflect that the applicant is agreeable to the conditions.
Okay, any more discussion?
I have just one comment, on the natural buffer around the building. I know this past winter, we had a lot of metal buildings collapse because of snow load and the snow could not come off the buildings. And if you have trees right next to it, especially on the eaves side, it tends to hold the snow up there. Just a discussion point. Something to be careful of.
Hopefully we don't have any more of them winters. So. Okay, if there's no more discussion. Let's do a roll call, Kathy.
Kay Wilson,
Yes.
Creed Schuman,
Yes.
Ron Buckles.
Yes.
Michael Maestri.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Number 5.
Yeah, preliminary plat review. Get to it here. All right, so we received a preliminary county plat. This is known as the North Hatchery Creek subdivision. If anyone is familiar with where the Hatchery Creek subdivision is right now, which is by Hatchery Creek Park, Mr. Greg Grossi is looking to further expand on that initial subdivision. This will be as a separate subdivision plat, but they're looking to expand an additional 6 parcels further north. As part of a preliminary plat review, the zoning administrator, or deputy zoning administrator, and the town shall reject, approve, or conditionally approve the preliminary plat within 90 days of submittal as provided by state statute. The town and Sawyer County Zoning Committee, or Sawyer County Zoning Administrator, have reviewed it and have approved the preliminary plat. After such zoning and town review and approval, the zoning administration will place the preliminary plat on the agenda for the next available public hearing for a preliminary review by the zoning committee. Plats submitted for zoning committee review may, at the discretion of the zoning committee, comply with all the provisions for public notification and department fees as for a conditional use permit application. In discussion with legal counsel and in discussion with the developer of this, I thought it would be pertinent that we do review this plat as applicable to the fees of a conditional use permit. Per ordinance, it does require zoning committee approval to actually collect those fees. But I think it would be a good idea to get some type of motion on the books via zoning committee to have this as a level of public hearing approval, which again has those department fees. The subdivider shall comply with section 6 of roads before the final plat is approved by zoning committee. Where the zoning committee finds that there is additional information relative to the problem or concern posed or proposed by the subdivision is needed, the zoning committee shall have the authority to request such information from the subdivider. Such additional information may include, but is not limited to, soil borings conducted by a certified soil tester, a stormwater management plan under NR 216, achieving erosion control performance standards of NR 151, or regional flood elevations. Land which is deemed unsuitable for the proposed development by zoning committee for any reason of flooding, inadequate drainage, adverse soil or rock formation, severe erosion potential, unfavorable topography, inadequate water supply or sewage disposal capacities, or have any type of harmful health, safety, or welfare of future residents of the proposed subdivision, the community shall not be subdivided. If applying for these provisions of this subsection, the zoning committee shall in writing recite the particular facts upon which the basis of its conclusion. Thereafter, the zoning committee may affirm, modify, or withdraw its determination of unsuitability. So now you have a preliminary plat in front of you. You either have the options of approving the preliminary plat, conditionally approving the preliminary plat, or rejecting the preliminary plat. If motion is to approve this preliminary plat, it'll be on the July's zoning committee agenda for final plat approval. Again, with my review, I have no issues with this. The town will also have a final plat review process. And generally, when I see plats such as this, my main concerns are roadways and topography. There's quite a bit of topography out here, but these are larger lots. They're, I think, like 6.5 acres each. So they're larger lots, and you'll find buildable areas on those lots. My only main concern would be, whether the town would accept this as a town road or not, but I would leave those onto that town's discretion, which is town of Hayward.
I was looking at this down, and further you go down here, Jay, and on a zoning approval, where you got zoning committee chairs, Miss Wilson.
Yep. So there was a website error that the surveyor didn't realize. We fixed the website error. I've notified the surveyor, and as part of the preliminary, or as part of the final plat, they'll have those names changed on that. Good catch on both of you. Yeah.
I didn't. I was gonna kind of let that go, Chairman.
All right,
Yep. All right, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve the preliminary plat that's presented in front of us for the North Hatchery Creek subdivision and move it on to the July zoning committee meeting for final approval.
With fees applicable to a public hearing process.
Correct.
okay, we have a
Motion.
motion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Mr. Schuman and a second by Miss Wilson to approve the preliminary plat review process
with CUP fees. Is that all you need in there, Jay? Okay. So any more discussion on that? If not, we need a motion to approve.
No, you got that, sir.
Oh, we already got that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Add a second.
In a second. I'm confused here. All right.
Yep.
Okay. All in favor of the approval, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Okay. New business.
Yeah, I have on there for ordinance amendment for the multi-dwelling development and related definitions. Ultimately, June and May has been absolutely crazy busy within the zoning office. We're down one staff member on maternity leave. So that leaves everyone else short-staffed and scrambling. So I have no further updates on that ordinance amendment process, nor have I had time to reach out to the town chairs to try to schedule a meeting. And really, most likely will not have time until probably September, October at this point.
Well, I think that would be all right. I mean, it gives the towns chance to kind of cool off a little bit with it and to see where this is gonna go.
Yeah, ultimately, there's still corrections that are needed, and we'll see some applications next month for multi-dwelling development for an individual that wants to have 3 dwelling units on one lot, which is allowed by conditional use. But if you look at definitions of a lot, you're only allowed 1 dwelling unit per lot. So there is going to be some conflicts, and we'll work those processes out with legal counsel moving forward. So yeah, just keep that on your radar.
Okay,
Yep, I would agree, Mr. Chairman, and we're jumping into this short-term rental ad hoc committee too, and some of that'll come up there. I'm sure we'll have good discussion, and I think we can let the towns rest for a couple months here until we can come up with a good plan that we can present.
so Mr. Kozlowski, you just want to postpone that until September or October?
I don't know if I necessarily want the committee to make a motion for postponing.
Okay,
You know, it's under new business. It's just kind of a talking point item.
okay.
If it falls off of the agenda for a few months, it falls off the agenda. And then we, you know, at some point we'll be picking this back up. It would be, I guess, as time dictates,
Okay,
when we hopefully find a little bit of a slowdown period that I am able to, in better lack of words, wrangle up the town chairs and try to, you know, host a meeting with them to kind of address some of these issues. So
okay. That's what I was just wondering if you need a motion or not. So,
I don't think so.
okay, all righty. So, okay, any more discussion on this?
No, not on that one. I guess the only other, you know, if we go to item B, any other new business, Rebecca, did you want to speak about the appeal process at all? Or should we not have that discussion?
With respect to Pinewood Properties,
No, as to respect to Kurzweil.
no, I don't think so, unless the committee has questions. And also given that Attorney Duffy is not here to speak to any other questions.
Okay. Guess not, Jay.
Okay.
All right, number 7, if there's nothing else. I want to thank everybody. We are adjourned.
Yahoo!
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Mr. Maestri.
Thank you. Thank you.